Good evening, all of you. Now, in my previous session, I had started up with a new topic, vitamins, and I had discussed about fat soluble vitamins. Out of these fat soluble vitamins, I told you they are A, D, E, and K. I discussed vitamin A in the previous session. Now, I am going to take up the rest of the fat soluble vitamins. Now, see, first of all, we are going to take up vitamin D. It is also known as the sunshine vitamin. Why? Because it is actually produced during the sun rays. And the precursor of vitamin D is 7-dehydrocholesterol, which in the presence of sun rays gets converted into its active form. Now, the other name of vitamin D is 1,25-DHCC. See, it is clear from the word itself, 1,25-dihydroxycholecalciferol, or it is also known as calcitriol. That means this 7-dehydrocholesterol undergoes two reactions or two hydroxylation reactions, first at the first position, second at the 25th position, so that it forms dihydroxycholecalciferol. See, it is given in the slide also. It is made from cholesterol in the skin. And the richest source of vitamin D is halibut liver oil. Now see, vitamin D exists in three major forms. Calciferol, D2 is known as ergocalciferol because it is completely synthetic, produced by the irradiations of the plant steroid ergosterol. Then vitamin D3, cholecalciferol, very important, which is produced photochemically by the action of sunlight or ultraviolet light from the precursor sterol 7-dehydrocholesterol, which I just mentioned right now. So you can say कि precursor of vitamin D is what? 7-dehydrocholesterol. Right. Now see, this picture is self-explanatory with itself, that it is explaining the entire thing. You can see sun, the presence of UV light, 7-dehydrocholesterol is there, which is converted into cholecalciferol. There are, just now I mentioned, there are two hydroxylation reactions. Hydroxylation at 25th position takes place in the liver, and hydroxylation at the first position takes place in the kidney. So the enzyme here in the liver is 25 alpha hydroxylase or hydroxylase, and in the kidney it is 1 alpha hydroxylase. And their metabolism is regulated by two hormones, PTH and calcitonin. So basically, this active form of vitamin D, which is calcitriol, has a role to play in the intestines, has a role to play in the bone and in other tissues. Now, what are the major functions of vitamin D? Or one very important thing I'm going to tell you here is, out of all the vitamins, fat soluble, vitamin D is the only vitamin which is synthesized in our body. Now see, this is the entire crux. Just now I told you that in liver, 25 hydroxylase enzyme is there, and in the kidney, 1 alpha hydroxylase enzyme is there. So by the effect of these, vitamin D is synthesized. Now the most important thing is, what are the functions of vitamin D? The most important one is it helps in the development of the bone. It helps in increasing the absorption of calcium from the intestine. It helps in reabsorption of calcium, thereby maintaining the level of calcium in the blood. And yes, it also leads to the absorption of phosphorus also. And the entire metabolism of vitamin D is controlled by PTH and calcitonin hormones. Then vitamin D also acts as a hormone. And whenever any vitamin is acting as a hormone, it means it has a capability to regulate the expression of the gene, means proper transcription, translation, and expression of that protein will occur. So vitamin D is acting as a hormone also. So these are the important functions of vitamin D. See, just now I told you intestines, kidneys, and bones mein the function is there. It actually increases the absorption of calcium, increases the absorption of calcium, and increases the mineralization in the bone. Mineralization of bone. So these are the functions of vitamin D3. Then next is, again, see, I told you how we have to study the vitamins. First of all, we should know the sources of vitamins, the active form of that particular vitamin. These are the questions which are generally asked in the exam. You should know the functions, and you should know the deficiency manifestations. Now, the deficiency, it leads to rickets in children and osteomalacia in adults. Now, rickets is what? There is failure of bones to grow properly. And the major feature is knock knees, bowed legs, and bowed chest and knobs on ribs. Osteomalacia, again, softening of bones is there, bending of spine is there, and bowing of legs is there, which can lead to osteoporosis also. And vitamin D again plays a role in with calcium in the absorption, right? Then we come over to again an important segment. What is the recommended dietary allowance for vitamin D? Now, major chunk of vitamin D we get from the sunlight, but there has to be, because it is synthesized also in the body, it has to be supplied from outside diet also. So in children and infants, it is 200 international units. Pregnancy and lactation may no doubt its requirement increases. In adults, it is this. Then requirement of vitamin D increases in hepatic diseases and biliary obstruction. Why? Because vitamin D being a fat soluble vitamin, it requires, you can say that bile is required for their transport and for their solubility. Then in patients using anticonvulsant drugs and corticosteroids, again requirement increases. And this is again a very important point. Oral or IV administration is required in patients with renal failure. Why? Because the major reaction of vitamin synthesis, that is the 1-alpha hydroxylation, occurs in the kidney. So during chronic renal failure, IV administration is required because the person cannot convert this D3 to calcitriol. So these are what? This is RDA. Then again, I told you one thing, vitamin A and D. Since they are fat soluble, they are stored in the liver. So there has to be a proper RDA for that. If they exceed that, if there is the intake is exceeded, it leads to hypervitaminosis. And hypervitaminosis can lead to nausea, diarrhea. There is increase in the concentration of calcium. And because of this, because the concentration of calcium increases, there are chances of formation of renal stones also. So this is what hypervitaminosis of vitamin D. Then one very important thing about this vitamin D is how do we assess the presence of this? So assessment can be again seen by increase in the concentration of calcium, decrease in the level of the vitamin D in serum. Then next fat soluble vitamin is vitamin E. This vitamin E, a very interesting feature about this vitamin E is what? It is also known as vitamin in search of a disease. In search of a disease. So as such, if we see, no specific disease is caused by vitamin E, but it leads to so many diseases. Why? Because the major function of vitamin E is it works as an antioxidant. It prevents the proliferation of the free radicals in our body. And the active form of vitamin E is tocopherol. And this is the oxygen, this is the reactive species which is actually acting as a antioxidant. So alpha tocopherol is the most active form, but vitamin E is very unstable. Why? Because it is easily oxidized due to that ion-on ring in it. And just now I told you its function is being an antioxidant. So selenium also plays a very important role. Selenium is a trace element actually, which is a component of glutathione peroxidase. And basically, it is actually acting as an antioxidant. It doesn't let the proliferation of free radicals. Because you know, free radical means radicals which are already in search of an electron. So wherever they see an electron, they form a bond with it, thereby damaging the cell membrane. And that is what exactly happens in hemolytic anemia. Excessive hemolysis takes place due to liberation of hydrogen peroxide radicals. So vitamin E, glutathione peroxidase, and selenium maintains the integrity of RBCs. Here comes now the functions. See, antioxidant. This is how it acts. You can see PUFA radical means it is taking that. So thereby it is protecting the cell membrane. It protects low density lipoproteins from oxidation. It protects the formation double bonds in PUFA. It prevents the rancidity, and it works in conjugation with selenium. Wholly solely the function of antioxidant is what? Not allowing these free radicals. Because these peroxide free radicals, hydroxide free radicals are very, very harmful. And it protects lungs from pollutants, and it protects DNA also. But the major function of vitamin E is it works as a potent antioxidant. Deficiency, as such, I told you ki it is also known as vitamin in search of a disease. So as such, no specific disease is caused, but still it leads to so many things. This is sterility it can cause, it can lead to degenerative changes in the muscles, and this is the most important feature of this. Increased fragility of erythrocytes means it is preventing the hemolysis by keeping the membrane of RBCs intact. So this is what is another fat soluble vitamin, vitamin E. Then we come over to the third vitamin, which is vitamin K. Now see, this vitamin K, it is also known as anti-hemorrhagic vitamin, because it is what? It has three major forms. The three forms of vitamin K are phylloquinone, menaquinone, and menadione. These are the three forms, and out of these three forms, only menadione form is water soluble. Very important question asked in the exam. Out of the three forms, which form is water soluble? So it is menadione. So vitamin K has basically these three forms. This is the structure of vitamin K, and this is menadione. Now, what are the functions of vitamin K? Vitamin K, the most important function is it helps in the post-translational modification of the clotting factors. So thereby it converts prothrombin to thrombin formation. It converts fibrinogen to fibrin, leading to clot formation. This is how it works. Another function is stimulates bone formation and decreases the reabsorption of the. Now see, these are the sources. You can say K1, K2 menadione. You can see it is highly soluble. They are, as such, from the small intestine, they are carried to the liver, where they undergo this post-translational modification. Post-translational modification of factor 2, factor 7, factor 9, factor 10. And how they are bringing this post-translational modification? They are actually undergoing carboxylation of the glutamic acid residues. Means they are putting carbon dioxide. Yeah, you can say this is also known as carboxylation of glutamic acid. And this glutamic acid is present where? In the prothrombin. Because you know prothrombin is again a protein. So the active site of this prothrombin consists of glutamic acid, which undergoes carboxylation by vitamin K. And the enzyme is microsomal carboxylase. So the gamma carboxyl glutamic acid is now negatively charged. So it can combine easily with positively charged calcium, thus enhancing the process of clotting. So increased conversion of prothrombin to thrombin is there, fibrinogen to fibrin is there. This is how the reaction occurs. Prothrombin to thrombin, then fibrinogen to fibrin, leading to the formation of clot. Very important question, most frequently asked in the exam also. And this is the most important function catalyzed by vitamin K. Then dicumarol and warfarin are the antagonists of vitamin K. See, this is the cycle, very important cycle. You can see this vitamin K, when it undergoes carboxylation, means when it is catalyzing the process, it is converted to vitamin K epoxide, and this is converted to its original form. All of you know that whenever a vitamin is functioning as, in its active form, once its function is over, it has to come back to its original form. That is what is exactly happening here. Vitamin K, when it is catalyzing the post-translational modification, it is being converted to vitamin K. This vitamin K is converted back to its original form. But this epoxide reductase is inhibited by warfarin, rat poison, and dicumarol. So they are what? They are the antagonists of vitamin K. Warfarin is the rat poison and dicumarol is found in the moldy sweet clover. So this is the cycle of vitamin K, which is actually very, very important and asked in the exam. Right. So this is all about the fat soluble vitamins. Vitamins A, the active form of vitamin A is retinol, retinal, and retinoic acid. Vitamin D is the only vitamin synthesized by our body. We have studied vitamin A, D, E, and K. A, the active forms are retinol, retinoic acid, and retinoic acid, retinal, and retinol. Helps in visual cycle. Vitamin D is calcitriol or 1,25-dihydroxycholecalciferol. Vitamin E is tocopherol, antioxidant, and vitamin K is phylloquinone. Out of these, vitamin A and vitamin E are antioxidants in nature. These are the questions which are actually asked in the exam. Vitamin D synthesized in the body by sunlight, and the precursor is 7-dehydrocholesterol. E is tocopherol, which functions again, just now I told you, as an antioxidant, and vitamin K helps in post-translational modification of factors 2, 7, 9, and 10. So this is all about fat-soluble vitamins. In my next session, I am going to take up again a very important component, that are water-soluble vitamins, which comprises of B complex and vitamin C. Very, very important again. So to know more about water-soluble vitamins, kindly subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot. Good night. Take care.